Welcome to the deep dive. If you've been keeping an eye on crypto lately, well, you know it's been a bit of a roller coaster.
It's putting it mildly.
Yeah. Every day feels like a new headline, doesn't it? Market shifts, big regulatory moves, new projects popping up.
Constantly evolving.
So today we've gathered, a bunch of sources. We've got market data, some key legislative updates, exciting innovations, really to help you figure out what's actually important right now.
Yeah,
Okay, let's maybe unpack this.
right. And what's fascinating, I think, is seeing how these global events, these policy choices, are really shaping the digital asset world more and more.
For sure.
Our goal here is just to cut through some of that noise, pull out the key insights, help you connect the dots, see the underlying trends in this really dynamic crypto space.
And dynamic is definitely the word. Let's start with that market turbulence we saw. It was quite a shock, wasn't it?
It really was.
We saw, what, $240 billion wiped off the crypto market cap this week? Just like that.
Huge number.
Yeah. Bitcoin dipped to around $103,127. That's down 2%. Ethereum took a bigger hit, plunged 10% to $2,456.
And Solana slid about 11% too.
Exactly. And the trigger, pretty clearly, seems to be those U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites.
Mm-hmm. It's a stark reminder, really, of how interconnected everything is.
Yeah.
Geopolitics directly hitting crypto prices.
It really shows you. But while that immediate chaos creates volatility, what's the deeper take here?
Well, the insight, I think, is that despite that short-term stuff, the long-term fundamentals for crypto, they still seem pretty bullish.
Okay.
We're still seeing significant institutional interest coming in. And for them, these kinds of external shocks, they're almost like stress tests.
Right. Less a crisis, more a test.
Exactly. And often they can actually create buying opportunities, for people with a longer view.
Interesting perspective. Okay, so shifting from the market moves, let's talk about the forces trying to, well, tame this space a bit. Regulation, which arguably was even bigger news this week.
Yeah, definitely a lot happening there.
So in the U.S., we saw the Genius Act pass the Senate. This is that bipartisan stablecoin bill, right? Setting federal standards.
That's the one. And it is a monumental step potentially towards legitimacy for stablecoins, a clearer federal framework.
Sounds like a win. But
Well, it does raise an important question, right? What isn't it addressing? Critics are already pointing out it might lack strict oversight in some key areas.
okay.
And, there are these lingering concerns about potential conflicts of interest, like President Trump's reported crypto holdings. Could that influence policy down the line? It creates a perception issue, at least.
Right, that perception of bias.
But on the flip side, you have someone like Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong praising the bill. That's a pretty strong signal, suggesting a more pro-crypto mood might be growing in D.C.
And speaking of Coinbase, they're not just focused on the U.S., they're making moves globally, too. Just got a MiCA license from Luxembourg.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
MiCA is Europe's big crypto regulation framework.
So that license basically opens up the whole EU market for them.
Pretty much, yeah. Paves the way for expanded services across the EU.
Oh.
And you saw their stock, TSON, jump, 28% this week?
Wow, 28%. And wasn't Circle's stock, CRCL, also soaring?
Oh, massively. Up something like 677% since June. It seems to be riding that same wave of stablecoin regulatory clarity.
So if you zoom out a bit, this points towards broader adoption, more formal integration.
I think so, yeah.
Ah.
It paints a clearer path. And remember Samson Moe meeting with that French MEP, Sarah Nafo, at PTC Prague?
Vaguely.
That whole meeting sparked talk about a possible nation-state Bitcoin adoption wave, maybe starting in France, spreading across Europe. And with these regulatory frameworks like MiCA falling into place, that vision maybe seems a little less far-fetched now.
It's such a contrast, though, to what we're seeing in parts of Asia, right?
Completely different picture there, yeah.
Thailand's SEC is actually moving to block unlicensed exchanges like Bybit and OKX by June next year.
Right, a crackdown. And Hong Kong is also pushing forward with its own pretty strict stablecoin laws.
So it's really a tale of two different regulatory worlds unfolding.
Absolutely.
Now, okay, these regulatory shifts, they don't just impact the big players. They also shape the environment for new innovations.
For sure.
Like TRON announcing this bold plan to go public through a reverse merger with a NASDAQ Q company.
Which is basically a faster way to get listed publicly, avoiding the whole lengthy IPO process.
Right. And then you have Cardano proposing that $100 million DeFi stimulus. They're really emphasizing their energy-efficient proof-of-stake model there.
Trying to power more decentralized finance, yeah. But while those big projects are making moves, it's interesting. NFT sales actually dropped, down about 18.43% to $116.9 million.
Huh. So a bit of a cool down there.
Seems like it. But here's where you see the innovation doesn't just stop, right? Even with that dip, you've got projects like Prismax, SparkChain AI, Gradient Network.
Okay.
Each of them just raised over $10 million from some pretty big-name investors. VCs are still betting big.
What does that signal then?
It signals, I think, really strong confidence in that whole convergence idea of crypto meets AI.
Right.
Plus, you've even got newer projects like Kanks Network generating a lot of hype around its token presale.
Yeah.
So the innovation engine is still running.
But this mix of innovation, growth, regulation, it also comes with some really stark real-world risks. We saw that awful example from Paris recently.
That was disturbing.
A 23-year-old crypto holder assaulted, forced to give up his Ledger wallet keys. Just terrible.
Horrible. And it really ignites those crucial debates again, doesn't it? About digital security, about self-custody, and how vital they are.
Absolutely vital. Here's where it gets really real, beyond the charts and regulations.
So if we try to tie all these threads together, what we've really seen today is just how multifaceted this crypto space is. It's this complex blend, isn't it?
It really is.
You've got geopolitical shocks causing volatility. You have regulators trying to bring clarity, but also complexity. You've got relentless innovation pushing forward, especially in areas like AI convergence. And then these very, very real security concerns that everyone needs to be thinking about.
So I guess the big question for you listening is, what does all this mean for you as you try to navigate this space? How do you balance that undeniable potential for innovation and growth with the absolute critical need for security, for caution, and for really informed decision-making in a landscape that just keeps changing so fast?